Oh my goodness, out of nowhere seemingly, we got another Mario Galaxy movie trailer. Technically an ad, but I basically consider it a trailer, as it gave us a fair amount of new stuff that we hadn't seen before. And funny enough, the person I happened to be speaking to during this whole, as it was dropping, was Triss, and I'm like, I need someone to talk to you about this. So Triss, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Loving the fact that we just suddenly got this.
I think it's because we were talking beforehand. That's what caused it to happen. It's like
Probably.
these two Mario experts, they need to talk about this new trailer. Triss, good to have you here. For those who don't know, former GameXplainer, now full-time Toon Trisser over your YouTube and Twitch channels. And we'll have links to that in the description below. But Triss, we have not talked about this movie at all yet. So let's start off with your quick take on this latest trailer we just got.
So I love the fact that everyone was worried after the second trailer, after seeing Yoshi. Oh, we're not seeing enough Mario Galaxy here. I think this kind of helps there, and not only helps give us an idea of how much Galaxy there is, but also their take on what Mario Galaxy means in this iteration.
Exactly, and I think to that point, like, it's not straight up a one-to-one adaptation of the game, which I think some people were hoping for, which I don't think it was ever going to be that, but we did get way more of it this time. I mean, they have a Bowser space base now, like a whole planet dedicated to Bowser, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I've heard an interesting theory on. We'll bring that up later. But yeah, then we got Bowser Jr.'s whole armada, multiple other scenes that are taking place in space. Mega Leg seemingly having an even grander presence here. But then we got what looks to be possibly Fury Bowser Jr. We got the return of Kamek, who we had only known but hadn't seen up to this point. We got a Midas World reference. We got the whole cool bar area and the whole Neo Bowser City, which is has Blade Runner vibes. I almost like this trailer more than the previous one.
I think I would have loved to have seen them lean into this in the last, movie direct, because the last movie direct really only served the purpose of, look, it's Yoshi. He might have been leaked in every single bit of media related to this already. But look, it's Yoshi.
Yeah, which is funny, right? The first character we kind of knew about, especially from the first movie even, teasing him. And it took so long to finally get him, but now we're actually getting him in spades. And, I love the scene where he straight up eats Kamek, turns him into an egg, and they get the little glasses that pop out with the Kamek egg. Adorable. But yeah, so not only was this trailer fun, but also kind of helped fill in some of the gaps at least. Now, what's really funny to me is we still don't really know what the grand story is at this point. Obviously we can make inferences and some general ideas, Bowser Jr. is after something, Rosalina ties into it somehow. And it could just be, one-to-one of the game in that sense, but we don't truly know what's fully going on there. But it still filled in some gaps. We understand now that Bowser Jr. does seem to be the big baddie here. Sorry for all those hoping for Wario. Seems like he's out of the picture for now. And then we got, we understood a little bit more of Yoshi, how Yoshi's fitting in a little bit more with how he's at the castle too, along with Mario and Luigi. Although I don't fully understand how that motorbike scene fits in yet, with him in the desert, on Luigi's bike.
Well, we know they find him when they're in the desert and they're investigating the pyramid. So it's possible it's once they bring him back, they're like, okay, how do we get him back? We only have 2 bikes.
Better hop on. It'd be hilarious if Luigi's riding saddle to Yoshi on the bike.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun, actually.
That would be fun. So yeah, I guess. So how are you feeling overall? I mean, you already touched on it a little bit, but as a grand, whole thing based on the trailers you've seen, are you feeling good about this movie so far?
Absolutely. I'm feeling really good about this movie, and what little bits we've seen, I feel like I may even like this better than the first Mario movie.
Wow.
I loved the first Mario movie. I know many were divisive on it, but I think this is a great job with the fact that it doesn't have to have an origin story for the main cast.
Right.
Maybe specific characters, but that's very different. So it can get us right into the Mario love very, very quickly.
And I think that's exactly where we're going to get. I mean, I think the whole Tossed Arena scene is probably near the opening of the movie. And that's going to throw us right into it. Kind of like a cold open, almost Indiana Jones style, where Mario and Luigi are on some kind of quest. Which, by the way, I love how they're still plumbers in this universe. They're still actively doing plumbing detail. Love that.
But it's much more adventurous now.
It is, right. Which also fits with the whole, bringing in elements from Odyssey, which of course is all about adventure. And I think it really fits in well. As you were touching on, some people are concerned, is this more of a Mario Odyssey movie than Galaxy? And no, it doesn't seem to be. It's bringing in elements of a bunch of Mario games, much as the first movie already did. And, yeah, I'm really eager to see where they go with this. The only hang-up I have, which we didn't get a whole lot of clarity on at this point, is how are the babies involved? How are Baby Mario and Baby Luigi? Where do they even fit into this,
Yeah, you have to imagine they got hit by like some sort of magic. I mean, I don't think this is going to tighten it up, but we literally have Mario Tennis Fever about to come out, and the whole story mode of that is characters getting turned into babies. So maybe that's just to warm us up to the idea of magic can turn them back into babies. Somehow.
Yeah, that's a good point. That might be it. I mean, yeah, Kamek could be, one of the solutions to that, or, one of the things that drives that. Assuming he's not in an egg still at that point, or when it happened. The interesting thing is, like, based on what we know from the trailers now, it seems like, Bowser Jr. and Kamek are attacking the castle together as it's being lifted into the sky, I assume, I presume the UFO from the game. Which, by the way, there's a scene in the trailer, the new one, where we can see an explosion and Bowser Jr. and the egg both pop out of it.
Yeah.
The way it's done in the trailer, it looks like Mega Leg is the one blowing up, and they're popping out of that. However, the scenes don't perfectly match up, and it almost looks like to me, based on the circular design behind Bowser Jr., that they may be popping out of the UFO, possibly the one that is picking up the castle.
Oh, like the UFO exploding behind them. And since Bowser Jr. is in the Wonder form as well, and Kamek in the egg, that would imply it's probably right after that battle at Peach's castle.
Right.
So maybe the battle culminates in the UFO getting blown up or something, but...
Yeah, maybe. So again, we know that Yoshi's at the castle now too, seemingly, as this whole attack's going down. We still don't know how Bowser even returns to his normal size, and if he does, we had that render of him riding Bowser, riding Yoshi in tiny form, which looks cute. In any case, I'm straying off the target here, because someone brought up a theory involving the babies. Let me go and read this whole comment here, but I found it interesting. It comes to us by way of Ganguandos, I'm so sorry for butchering your name. They say, I'm calling it now, this movie is going to involve time travel. At some point, the characters are going to travel to a dystopian future where Bowser Jr. rules a galaxy from his futuristic Neo-Bowser City. At another point, they'll travel back in time and encounter Mario and Luigi as babies, and then wind up going even further back in time to the age of the dinosaurs. This will explain why Bowser has a son they apparently didn't even know about because Bowser Jr. hasn't been born yet, and how Rosalina knows the story of Princess Peach and the Mario Bros. Without having met them before. She's also from the future, too. What? It sounds insane, but they might be onto something.
I do think they're onto something there. Like, ever since Bowser Jr.'s reveal, I've been of the mindset that we're gonna learn... So they don't have to explain Bowser Jr. origins. He's from the future. And Bowser, like they make a joke about it a few times. And Bowser being like, okay, but if you're my son, who's your mother? It's like, right. I can't spoil that for you. Like, just fun little, like, I thought that would be something funny that they would get to do for banter. They play at the joke a couple times of, yeah, he's from the future and now he's in the past, but they can't do anything about it and they can't spoil anything. But I do feel like now if there's also, the baby Mario Brothers, we're going to see something playing into this, and that could be how you have the idea of Yoshi's Island. You have the idea of Yoshi meeting the babies, even though the babies shouldn't know anything about that world yet.
Right.
There's definitely ways you can play into that with time travel or, magic transforming characters. I do really like the idea, too, of the time travel being how we have, like, Neo Bowser City and all that. I think that you can definitely play into that.
Very much Back to the Future 2 style, where you get the evil Biff future and he's, like, taking over the city, and it looks dark and gloomy like this does. Like, that actually... I'll be honest, because there've been time travel theories before. I think as soon as we saw the babies, that was one of the initial ideas.
Yeah.
I still like the idea of the Super Scope being the de-evolution gun from the first Mario movie. That's exactly how it worked then. But, time travel is kind of almost making the most sense at this point, and that could be a fun riff on it, where, Bowser, maybe this is a dark future where he has taken over. Maybe to the point where, like, past Bowser, or present Bowser, I guess, has to oppose himself in the future, because even he realizes he's gone too far, which might explain the team-up he has with Yoshi, like, maybe he actually does have to help to, to save the universe from himself, Especially
that would be really fun, actually.
It would be, right? Especially if his goal is still involves, like, the generator, what was it called from Mario Galaxy? The Galaxy
generator?
Yeah. Because that basically could reset the whole universe, right? So maybe it's like, I've gone too far. Time to slow things down, Bowser. Anything else that stood out to you? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Anything else based off that, or?
I think the idea of the time travel is just really fascinating, but I do wonder how much it's really going to play into all of that. Like this, because it's entirely possible there is time travel, but it's only certain aspects. So maybe it's like done for a quick gag. Like, it's really hard to say how much it'll play into it all. But I do think the big question with it is it still really just Bowser Jr. as the big bad? Like, no sign of actual Bowser outside in the universe there. It's all Bowser Jr. And now it has me wondering if Bowser actually already conquered the universe, and the Mushroom Kingdom, like, he's going planet by planet. Right. Junior's the one in charge of the main planet, so this would make Bowser an alien to the Mushroom Planet, the Mushroom Kingdom, and all that. But, you know, he puts his castle on this planet, and he's slowly trying to take over the whole thing with the Power Stars. That would be how you could tie in the first movie to this. Because you do wonder, why did he put all that effort towards the Mushroom Kingdom if he has all this out in space waiting for him?
That's a great point. And kind of to that point, to maybe tie back to the time travel, or maybe other ideas too, there was another comment I had, which I forget the name, I'll put it on the screen though so people can see. Their theory was that that planet that we see that Bowser owns, not necessarily Neo Bowser City, that now I'm thinking about it, could be that same planet that we see, you know, that Bowser Jr. Has a Armada at. Their theory is that that planet is a transformed version of the Gateway Galaxy. Because apparently it does look similar in some ways, like some of the spikes almost look like where the stone pillars would be. And that could make sense too, especially, you know, whether they just take it over or in an alternate future where Bowser did consume that world, especially given the Rosalina connection, you know, with like, maybe, you know, after attacking Rosalina, they take over the planet somehow or something. This
is the bad future we have to present. Here's like a 2-minute long glimpse into what that future looks like. Oops, someone gets sent to that future and has to come back from it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we do know that Peach and Toad are on their own journey through this Neo Bowser City-like place. And we've not really seen many clips of them with the Mario Brothers and Yoshi. Only that, like, one scene that we have in this one of them in the, in Gateway Galaxy. Where, and that's the only time where they're all together. And that feels more like a after they got back together. More like a, they finally had their reunion. Now we have to go stop the big bad now that we're all together.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, like, for me, it's fun to think about these theories, and it's fun that we can still even have these theories this many trailers into it, because there are many elements that don't seem to necessarily jive that well, you know, from what we know at this point. So I guess, for you, do you have like a theory or an idea you would prefer over the others, or that you've kind of gravitated to? Like, do you like the time travel idea? Would you prefer it to be more of well, I guess a de-evolution type thing, or maybe just Mario and Luigi, you know, somehow magically transform back into babies as you suggested? Like, what's your preference?
I like the idea of time travel. I'm just worried about it playing too integral of a part that it like it should be something far more complicated, but because it's a kids movie, they dumb it down to like one line. I'm a little worried about that because I don't feel like that'll come across very well. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that they'll lean more into the cosmic unknown and the Star Wars-y kind of aspect of space with the whole galaxy travel, because that's what it feels like they're leaning more into, rather than giving you all these cameos from the actual Mario Galaxy movie. It feels like we're looking into what an intergalactic civilization would look like outside of just, you know, Toad Town and the Mushroom Kingdom.
No, like, it feels like they're going grand with this movie. Like, I was talking with someone on Twitter today about, like, where do you even go from here? You know, after this one, which is why a lot of people thought, like, hey, is it too soon for a Galaxy movie? I mean, and I'm already sold on it, but it's like, wow, yeah, what do you do after this? But from everything I'm seeing so far, I'm really enjoying it. Like, it really, like, you can tell there's a lot of care being put into it once again. Like you, I'm a huge fan of the Mario movie. I've been doing like an ongoing analysis of that first movie, and I think it's like underrated in many respects for what it accomplished and what it had to accomplish and what it had to work with, like story-wise, which is practically nothing.
The uphill battle it had.
Yes, exactly. Just to be even, you know, halfway decent. Yeah. No, Tris, obviously you're a big Rosalina fan. Like, you've got your logo involves a Luma.
Yes.
So, what's your take on Rosalina so far? We haven't seen much of her. We got a little glimpse of her in the new trailer, but less so than even the previous one. How are you feeling about her, and how are you feeling she's going to fit into the story, which is kind of still a mystery?
I'm so glad that what little glimpses we've seen of her, she doesn't just feel like a blue Peach, if that makes sense. Like, I'm so glad she doesn't feel like the same exact character dynamic as Peach with the Mario Brothers and everything. Like, she has what we know her to be, this kind of air of mystery to her, but she's also clearly very powerful. Right. And I'm just really hoping that her writing, dialogue-wise, feels in character. And from what we've seen so far, it does. So I'm really liking what we've seen of her, but I'm very curious how they're going to make her tie into it all. Because we have not actually seen her interact with anything other than Mega Leg and the Lumas. And I'm really curious how big of a role she's actually going to end up playing in all of this.
I've seen that a lot of people asking that question. Like, yeah, is she actually going to be a big focus of the movie, or is she just going to show up like maybe near the end or something? I assume that there will be at least some kind of bookend to her. They'll introduce her early, then maybe she won't appear much until the end. But I honestly have no clue. Like, it seems clear they're still hiding a fair amount from us. You know, the connective tissue, and I honestly don't even know. Like, I don't even know how much Rosalina I want. I like her, but also, like, that's a character that maybe you could have too much of, especially depending on how they portray her, you know? Because, as you said, they've done a good job, seemingly so far, though we haven't seen a whole lot. But at the same time, I would say maybe I'm not being entirely accurate to this description, but like I would say in the games, she is kind of more of like a drier demeanor, which could come across as possibly boring if they stick true to that in the movie.
Right.
So there's so many mysteries involving her that, yeah, we just don't know. And like, you know, again, what does Bowser Jr. want from her specifically, you know?
I have to imagine even though we haven't seen a single one yet, the Grand Stars are going to be what ties into it all. The idea of the Invincibility Star or the Power Star from the original Mario movie, but now it's, you know, the Power Stars, the Grand Stars, and the kind of power you can have in the universe with even just one of them, I imagine, is going to be what they're leaning into. She's probably going to be some sort of protector of them, or even the potential of the Lumas and what they can become. Maybe Bowser Jr. finds a way to manipulate the Lumas into turning into specific things to further their empire.
See,
and she's protecting the Lumas.
I like your general idea, but I'm almost wondering they might even simplify that narrative. Forget the Grand Stars. It's all about the Lumas. The Lumas are where it's at, and they're what Bowser Jr. is after. And, you know, I think that would just kind of clean, you know, make it a little bit simpler, and also make it a little bit more personable, because, like, who cares about the Grand Stars? They're not... They're not sentient, as far as we know. The Lumas, though, very sentient. You know, we care about them. Even that little suicidal one in the first one, you know?
No, Lumily was so funny. They're clearly leaning into Lumily more. I mean, Lumily is a skin in Mario Tennis, which is kind of crazy. But I think they're I don't know if that one specific is going to come back, but I do think the Lumas are going to play a very big role here. And I think that even comes back to the re-release of the games that we just had. I mean, they had a whole new storybook for giving a backstory to Lubba. And the fact that at that point it is years after the Mario movie, and the design of Lubba and Mari, you know, when little, looked like Lumily, I feel like that's very purposeful, and we're going to see both of them show up in this movie. Yeah. And just further tie into the fact that the Lumas are what's very important.
I totally agree with you. Like, it actually almost seems like, for better or worse possibly, but there seems to be more synergy surrounding this movie than there was with the first movie. Like, Nintendo's really kind of going all in on, like, having products that correspond to what's going to happen in the movie or is happening in the movie. Yep. And that's kind of interesting. So it'll be fun to see, like, yeah, you know, if Lubba appears, how much Lumily is involved. And I do hope Lumily's back. I really enjoyed that specific character. Now, we talked earlier, you mentioned earlier how they don't have to do too much in the way of backstory, because we've covered that for the main cast. Though Peach, of course, did have that giant mystery in the first movie, where she's straight up she's like literally looking into the cosmos. Like, I could be from any one of those stars. Which, like, teased a clear Rosalina connection to me. So do you think that could happen? Do you think they might close that loop, like, cement her as having some kind of relationship to Rosalina? Do you want to see that? And what could that be?
So, I definitely think they could. This is, like, their only real time to take that opportunity to do so, because they clearly won't in the games. I mean, they have addressed Rosalina is actually a princess this time around. We know from that first trailer she's addressed as Princess Rosalina, which they've never done in the games.
It took this long to cement that, yeah.
It took this long for the crown to mean something. But, I mean... I know, like, the original ideas back in, like, Mario Galaxy was, oh, instead of Rosalina, it would be Peach. Oh, no, okay, actually, we're going to redesign someone else. So it makes one wonder if maybe she was always meant to be someone related to Peach. Like, maybe she's, like, some distant ancestor from Peach that went into space, and because of space travel and time travel, etc., you know, she's technically, like, thousands of years old, but maybe, like, you know, like, hundreds of years back, or, like, Peach's grandmother or something, I don't know. But however they want to play into that, considering Peach isn't a princess by lineage in the movie version compared to the games, it's because the Toads made her their princess. I think they could totally play up the mystery of all that. We may find she and Peach, it may just be as simple as they bond over similar origins. You know, Rosalina as a lost child on her own with the Lumas, Peach as a lost child on her own with the Toads. that might just be used as the point of the two of them bonding and befriending each other because of that shared backstory.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I do hope they just take the opportunity to like cement some kind of relationship with them, because it's a perfect opportunity, as you were saying. Like, it's now or never, basically.
Yeah.
And it'd be fun to, and Nintendo had said, or had like concept art where they had explored some kind of relationship. They seemingly abandoned that for the games, but it'd be perfect for the movie.
Yep.
Speaking of relationships, though, we touched on it lightly earlier, but Bowser Jr., like, he's also a big question mark. Like, no reference to him at all in the first movie. So how do you work around that? We already mentioned the time travel theory, possibly, which could help explain it, even though that's not fully, cemented yet. But is there any other ideas you have for, like, how you fit Bowser Jr. into this story?
The only other idea I really have, other than, the potential time travel, really is the idea of Bowser's already conquered the universe. The Mushroom Kingdom and that planet was just his next step and the one to stop him. Right. And he leaves Junior behind on the main planet, their main conquered or created planet. And after, Bowser didn't show up in time, or maybe Kamek warned him, he fell at this planet, Junior turned the whole thing into to reflect himself so that he had the power to go and rescue his dad and, do what his dad couldn't, of keep conquering.
I like that idea. Yeah, that could work. I've had the idea even before they announced this movie that I was hoping that in the first movie Bowser teased the idea of having like something that happened in his past almost. Like, I could be reading too much into it, but he's like, now you'll be as miserable as I am. Like, hinting at like a darker truth to him, and like maybe this is how Bowser Jr. ties in. Like, maybe he had a horrible like divorce or something, and now and he has no idea where his kid even is, and now Bowser, he's to the point that he basically has not forgotten, but like put him out of his mind because there's no reconciling that relationship. And maybe now Bowser Jr. realizing Bowser's in trouble, like, hey, this is my chance to go like meet my dad finally. I thought that could be maybe a cute thing. My biggest fear, honestly, Triss, is that they magic away Bowser Jr.'s origins. Like, we saw Bowser painting in the castle. Maybe he painted his own son or something, right? That's what or like Kamek turns a painting into like, a real being. Like, I don't want that. But it does kind of fit with the whole like Ink origin, the whole Ink tie-in he has, especially now. And also with him seemingly going into Fury mode, it looked like at one point.
Yeah, the fact that so we now know two forms. We know he could turn on the Wonder form, which is painting himself with like the blue, and it looks like the Wonder form from Mario Wonder. And I imagine black paint is going to be how he takes on the Fury form. Right. The idea of a Fury Bowser Jr. is very cool. I'm surprised it's not being applied to Bowser, but it does make me wonder if Fury Bowser will also show up at some point in this, since that's a definitive other form for Bowser that could show up here.
That's a good point. Yeah, it depends entirely on where this story is going to go, right? Like,
yeah, and based how many other forms is Bowser Jr. going to have? Because that's already quite a bit.
Exactly. Like, it could be, we tease the idea of Bowser having to save the universe from himself, perhaps, but it could also be where Bowser maybe needs to stop his own son, too. Like, maybe his son's going too far or something, which would be a fun, like, kind of counter to what we had in Bowser's Fury as well, which is a game I really enjoyed. But yeah, there's so many theories and ideas, which is awesome, because I don't think we had anywhere near this amount for the first movie. Like, that was pretty more straightforward.
I think what's impressive too is, come this point before the first movie, I think we had already put out that video where we pieced together the entire flow and the narrative, right. And I think we were almost completely spot on.
Yep.
We can't really do that much here. You can kind of piece together everything with Yoshi's at the start, with the finding him in Toast Arena, and then from there, it's okay. At some point, Peach's castle gets like lifted up. Bowser Jr. invades. I guess Peach and Toad get separated and fly out into space. But is that before or after the Mario Brothers end up in space? And everything from there is who knows.
Right. When they turn into babies? When are they back?
Yeah, exactly.
When is Tiny Bowser working with Yoshi? Like, so many questions still, Tristan. That's what's really fun about this. And I love that we don't even know. And I will say, like, there were some concerns. I remember you also made a video about, like, hey, have we seen too much of the Mario movie? Because you added up how much time we'd seen. And even though we had, obviously we hadn't seen anywhere near most of it, but we did see, like, a lot of the major sequences. But even knowing as much as we did, I still had a blast at the movie. And the fact that we know even less seemingly this time makes me even more excited for this one. So.
Yeah. Knowing less, it's that weird, like, conflicting feeling of knowing less helps enjoying it better for the first time, but also wanting to dissect every new clip that comes out of this to see what we can find.
Oh, man, I was on this new clip like a fly to a pile of, some enemy poop in Mario. Do enemies poop in Mario? I don't know. I was trying to connect that analogy, it didn't work. Anyways, like, there are so many little Easter eggs already in this new one. And again, you know, I love the whole, like, the idea that the Minus World, like, speakeasy, what it looked like. Absolute genius. Like, the way that they have of connecting these, like, obscure Easter eggs slash glitches, which, again, surprised that they were referencing, but tying into the lore, like, again, having the Kongs be, like, literal grease monkeys, and, you know, taking the minecart inspiration into, like, the world of Mario Kart, like, really smart. And I'm excited to see what else they do here. One final question, though, before we wrap it up, I think, is, you know, I feel like Neo Bowser City is, you know, linked to the casino scenes we've already seen with Princess Peach. Yeah. But my take on those is that they appear to be taking place inside, like, a galaxy planet. You know, like the generator ones you could run around inside. Yeah. They're either, like, the generator ones or, like, the warp pipes you can find, where it's like, the enclosed space. That's very much what those feel like. But I could easily see one of those being here in this Neo Bowser City. And I'm so convinced this is Neo Bowser City. Like, the buildings match up, like you even pointed out, the roads. Yeah. And it would really work well as a city out in space compared to somewhere in Bowser's Kingdom. But there's so many little, like, fun little references in here. Like, the fact that it references Mario Party and Mario Kart in addition to just having the whole Mario Kart sequence in the first movie, that's cool. I want to see... it gives me hope that there might be some small reference to any of the Mario RPG games, even, like, slightly. The main one I want to see, though, is, like, I want a Shroom somewhere. They're out in space. That would be perfect.
Just toss a random Shroom in the background. Even if it's the sprite work on a poster. That's fine.
There we go. Maybe that'll be the post-credits tease for the next movie. There's going to be, like, a whole infection thing. Also, speaking of Neo Bowser City, looking at that awesome neon light behind you of King Boo, I also spotted King Boo in the background of the movie, like a bunch of ads for him, which is interesting because he also appeared in the first movie looking a little bit different, though. So that might just be an Easter egg, but I do wonder if they're either setting up something, if not in this movie, in the future, too. Perhaps involving, you know, Luigi and Luigi's Mansion, of course. So.
I'm so convinced they're going to do a Luigi's Mansion movie at some point. We know Charlie Day wants them to do one. Yep. And that was from, like, before the first movie came out. So I'm fully convinced they'll do one at one point, and this might be them kind of laying the seeds. I don't know if it's going to be like your end credit tease of the next movie is actually a Luigi's Mansion movie, but we know they now are aware of having that design in this movie world, and Luigi's taking a much bigger spotlight this movie compared to the last one, which is fantastic. So it does kind of feel like they are building up to the ability to touch upon that in the future.
It's pretty exciting. Yeah, I mean, there's so much potential with the Mario universe, you know, and I do, you know, there's already been rumors of, like, a DK spin-off coming up next, so it's possible that they take a break from the mainline Mario movies, you know, they explore some other spin-offs, Donkey Kong, Luigi's Mansion, before maybe cycling back. They could always incorporate Luigi's Mansion into, like, a, you know, mainline Mario movie 3, too, so... Tris, any final points you want to bring up? Anything you want to circle back to? Anything that stood out to you about the latest trailer? We didn't talk about how beautiful this movie looks in general.
Yeah, it looks so good. I didn't think it was going to be possible for something to look even better than the first one, but
yeah.
I have one fun thing to point out. 13 seconds into the trailer, when you see like Peach and Toad looking out at all of the enemies, looking back at them. On the left is like a stand with like a bunch, like it's like Koopa Troopa, like selling a bunch of things. One side has a Shy Guy mask for sale, and the other side has a Phantom mask. And I think that's so cool.
I miss the Phantom mask. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. That's awesome. I love / am terrified of Phantom, so it's fun to get a reference in there for it. And they also had a reference not too long ago in Mario Kart World as well. In the Shy Guy Bazaar. So.
And they're going to be in Mario Wonder as well. So.
That's right. Yeah, good stuff. Any other thoughts, Tris, at all, or are we about done here?
I think that's about it. I'm very excited to see more extended clips and from the actual movie of anything in Neo Bowser City, because I'm sure there are even more little like nods and references that we haven't even seen here. Yep. Even though we have 3 clips in this area, I'm sure there's like plenty more that are gonna blow our minds when we actually see them. Like, oh my god, they referenced that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the Minus World already was that for me, and I can't wait to see what else. Like they've been teasing like deep cut characters, you know, and. So I'm wondering who else that could be. Should be fun to find out.
Evidently, Mouser, Birdo, and probably Wart are aliens, I guess. So
yeah, you know, whatever. Whatever it takes to get Wart into the movie, I'm fine with this. Like, I don't know if you saw my video, Tress. I am 100% on board the Wart train. He's here. I'm convinced. I can feel it. I can feel it, Tress.
I am convinced. Like, at the big mess that gets made in that casino, he's gonna be like the owner of the casino, and then Peach is gonna have to fight him too or something.
You know, and I just thought something else just occurred to me. Like, it does seem like there's a lot going on in this movie. Some people are worried like too much, but it does. I think knowing that it might capture that kind of like the energy of Mario Galaxy, like hopping from planet to planet. You know, if we're just like doing a lot of like hopping around in here too. Now, I know a lot of people think the first movie was too quickly paced, so maybe that could be, the same problem here. I'm not worried myself. Like, I like the Mario games are all about that quick pace, and so, hey, they want to embrace it for the movies, that works for me, so.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the pacing, because I think even if it follows similar pacing from the first movie, it's still more than enjoyable at that point, so.
Totally.
Like, sure, like, could it be better paced? I mean, yes, but we're working with movies that aren't Marvel movies, therefore they have a set time they have to be.
Right. Well said. All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up there, everyone. We could go on forever about this movie, but we'll spare all of you that. Tris, I have to say it was an absolute blast talking about the Mario Galaxy movie with you. A lot of fun with a fellow Mario expert. If people want more from you, where can they follow you at these days?
Yeah, so you guys can find me pretty much anywhere at ToonTris. I do a bunch of content just like I did back at GX over on my YouTube channel, and I stream every Monday and Tuesday over on Twitch. I haven't been touching the movie that much. I'm worried about copyright strikes and stuff, so I haven't been touching this that much. But the games, I've still been doing all sorts of analyses and all for upcoming games. It's been good fun still.
Oh, that's awesome. Glad to hear that, Tris. Once again, great having you on here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and make sure to give ToonTris a follow at the links in the description below. With that, we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.